Hi everyone, we are Group 9 and we're excited to introduce our Capstone project, Resubot. In this presentation, we'll cover the background, outlining the problem statement and product overview. We'll discuss the core features of Resubot and its additional functionalities. Then we'll dive into the architectural and tools that we utilized. We'll also outline our next steps for the future. And of course, we'll conclude with a project demo. So current resume building options fall short of meeting today's job market demands. They lack data-driven suggestions for formatting and keyword optimization, fail to provide recommendations tailored to different job roles and industries, and often rely on outdated templates that fail to keep pace with evolving resume trends. So having identified gaps in the current resume building tools, we're motivated to develop a solution to address these issues.
This is why we have developed Resubot. Resubot is an AI driven resume builder that utilizes user information such as skills, projects, experiences, and grades to generate tailored resumes. Basically, Resubot is a platform where users can input information that they want on their resume, and then this information is used to generate their perfect resume using AI to tailor and make the resume more targeted towards the job that they are applying to. The user information, the relevant template that the user picks, and then ChatGPT are all the perfect recipe to quickly generate and well structure a professional resume, to customize the resume and tailor it for the specific job application, to optimize content and format of documents, which results in a more effective resume that increases the chances of our applicant to get the job of their dreams. These are the core features of Resubot, mainly the resume generation. When the user inputs information such as their experience or their skills or the job description that they are applying to, this information is sent to AI or ChatGPT to then generate the perfect resume. There is also post-generation modifications. So once the user gets their resume generated, if there's something that they don't like, something that they want to change, they can submit a regeneration request to have that modified. For example, if they don't want Python to appear in their skills, they can indicate that and their resume will be generated without Python in the skill. We also have a chatbot. The chatbot is a platform in Resubot where the user can ask questions to ChatGPT. This we find really important because it helps the user have ideas or ask questions that they simply need to know the answer to about job seeking and the industry. Additional features that we have is user registration and authentication. User register and authenticate into Resubot to access saved resumes or create new ones, and we always welcome new users to register on our platform. There is multiple resume templates. User has the choice to choose any template that they want and they feel is more appropriate to the job that they're seeking. They can save the finished work to have access to it later on. There is also an admin dashboard. So, with admin credentials, we have access to a dashboard with analytics information about the Resubot. And lastly, it's a user friendly interface where the user doesn't need to second guess to know how to use it.
To implement these features effectively, our team offered a UI plus microservice design for the architecture. Our frontend is built using React 18, which communicates with the Express and SQL servers through RESTful APIs. To ensure availability and performance of our application, Nginx serves as the load balancer during deployment, evenly distributing incoming traffic across multiple instances of our backend services. Additionally, we utilize Docker containers to package up and deploy our microservices, allowing for efficient resource utilization and seamless deployment across different environments. Our backend also comprises of multiple scalable components, notably Spring Boot microservices for handling central SQL Server functions on data objects, and a Node.js server dedicated to GPT 3.5 Turbo integration, which has excellent documentation for its integration with OpenAI's API. And finally, our backend services also is connected to a relational SQL Server database for cloud data retrieval and storage. Transitioning, let's delve into the array of supporting technologies that are pivotal to our apps 2 releases. Our backend leverages Node.js, Spring Boot, and Express.js frameworks for data handling. We also utilizes React with Redux for global state management on the front end, complemented by UI libraries such as Bulma and Sass for enhanced user interfaces. React's virtual DOM and component-based architecture make it a good selection for building dynamic and interactive user interfaces, while Redux provides a centralized state management solution. Other essential tools we used include ESLint for code quality, GitHub for continuous integration and version control, MS SQL Server for the database, Postman for API testing, and Docker, Vercel, and AWS for the deployment. Looking ahead, let's explore some potential future implementations for Resubot. Firstly, we aim to introduce cover letter generation, expanding beyond resume creation to empower users with the CV capabilities. And secondly, we plan to diversify our template offerings to cater to users across various industries, not just limited to the tech sector. And thirdly, we also wanted to develop a resume and CV analyzer, parsing information from existing resumes to provide recommendations, and keyword analytics by comparing them against industry standards. And lastly, with accessibility of GPT-4 nowadays, we also envisioned a suggestion system where real-time recommendations can enhance the quality of user-generated content as they are inputting their information into Resubot. And with that, that concludes an overview of our Resubot, and I will now hand it off for a demo.
So when you navigate to Resubot, you're presented with this homepage. So you can get started, and you can also see here kind of the why, how you might use it. We also have a display of all of the templates you could possibly choose from when generating your resume. And finally, we just have some frequently asked questions. So to get started, we're going to log in, and I'm just going to log in with my account for this. All right, so we can see I've generated a total of 22 resumes to this point, but for the sake of this demo, we're going to generate a new one. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to first pick my template. So I'm going to select this one, and then we'll move on to the customization section. So I'm just going to fill this with predefined data, but this industry section is essentially whatever industry you're planning to work on or whatever industry you need this resume to be tailored to. So this could be maybe the business industry, marketing, but in this case, we're going to use the technology industry. Job details are kind of like a job description as to what job you're applying for with this resume. So in this case, we're applying to be a Python developer. So, what's important here is that our resume generator is going to scan this job description and look for any relevant skills in here that you've also provided to us through your information. So, we see Python here, PySpark, Pandas, Django, Flask, test driven development. So, these are all important skills that we'll be scanning all the information you provide us with to look for. So, then just some pretty basic placeholder contact info. So now we have the experience section. So I've just predefined a few positions. So we'll start with the full stack developer. Let's say I worked at XYZ from May 2022 to April 2023 in Toronto. And I'm keeping the description of this position very, very brief because we're going to let ChatGPT do most of the generating for us. So I've just said I worked with Python, Django, and Flask. And then I also added a position for backend developer at ABC Tech. And I worked with JavaScript, Node.js, and Express.js. So in the education section, you're able to add your degree, university, and graduation date, but you're also able to add your grades. So this will be structured like courses and then the grade you received in them, like a transcript. So what's going to happen is our resume generator is going to parse these courses, looking for the ones that are relevant to, back in the customized section, the job description that you provided and the industry that you provided. So in this case, we have that Python developer role. So if we go back to education here, we can look through the courses. So we see Python programming, Intro to Django, Intro to PyUnit. So first of all, those are probably going to be picked up. But then also, we're going to look at the grades you received in these courses. So let's say you received a 50%. That's going to be ranked much lower on our list to add to your resume than maybe Python programming, where you received a 90%. So for skills, again, similar, you can just add all of the skills that you possess. So in this case, we'd want to focus on Django, Flask, NumPy, and Python, just because they're related to that Python developer role. So finally, for projects, you can add a project that you've worked on. So in this case, we'll use portfolio website. And the description, again, keep it very brief, will be created a personal portfolio website using latest full stack technologies. So now we will create this resume. All right, so we can see the generated resume, which looks pretty good. So we have Python skills, Django, NumPy. We've also included intro to Django in here. And we can see that it's really expanded on those very brief descriptions that we've given. So this looks pretty good, but let's compare the difference between a Python developer job description versus maybe a React job description. So let's go back and let's just change the customized resume info. All right, so let's change this role from Python developer, and instead we're going to include this React developer job description. So there are some different skills in here, of course. So we have JavaScript, CSS, HTML, we have object-oriented programming. So we really expect that all of this data will be treated differently with that other job description. So all the exact same data, so same positions, same courses, same skills, same project, and let's see the difference. Okay, so we can see there's a big difference in content between the two generated resumes. So here our skills relate to those more front-end technologies like React, JavaScript, Node.js, HTML, CSS. We've included the advanced front-end development course, but also our project has been able to kind of include that brief project description we gave, as well as that job description, that React job description, combine it with our skills and create this detailed description of what we might have used to make that project. But let's say we don't like Python being in our skills. We don't want it there. So what we can do is we can edit this pre-generated resume, and what we can do is we can make a regeneration request. So maybe we say, don't include any information about Python. And then we'll submit this regeneration request, and now it's going to regenerate our resume without any Python in it. Okay, so this looks good. So it's replaced the Python skill with problem solving. It's gotten rid of any Python related courses, and it has kind of not really affected any of our job descriptions, which is nice. And then our project is still related to these front end skills. So now that this resume has been generated, you're going to want to be able to download it to be able to use it to apply for jobs. So we can do this in two ways. So first, we can download it as a PDF. All right, and here it is available. So now we have the PDF ready. Or what we can do is we can actually save this resume to our profile to be used again. So we'll just press the save button for this. Okay, looks like it's saved. So at this point, we can go to our profile and we can see the number of saved resumes has increased to 23. So now what we'll do is we'll go to our latest resume added here and we will select it to be downloaded. Great. So here we can view this resume that we've saved to our profile, and we can come back and access it at any point in time. All right, so finally, we're going to take a look at the chatbot. So we can ask this chatbot any career-related questions that we might have. So first, I'm going to ask, what are the top software development skills employers are looking for? Or we get a good response with some helpful tips. And next, I might ask something about maybe give me some tips for a technical interview. All right, and it's just going to give me some tips like preparing and reviewing, just helpful. Okay, so the last thing we'll do is we will just take a look at the admin portal. So I'll just log in to the admin account. And we'll see in this top right corner that we'll get a pop-up for the admin tab. And what we'll do with this is we can just take a look at some of the data analytics of our server. So we have 23 total users, 83 resumes created, and we can see all of the users listed here, as well as any of the active resumes they've created. We also have some of the top listed skills, languages, GPAs on here, just for future reference. And that is it for the Resubot demo.